What if the deepest secrets aren't hidden away in some ancient code, but are actually sitting right there in the everyday words we think we understand? Today, we're going to unlock one of those secrets from a conversation that happened thousands of years ago. And the key isn't just what was said, but how those words were truly meant to be felt.
Okay, let's just jump right into this. This statement, it's not some casual comment. It's a huge challenge, thrown down over 2,000 years ago. You have this brilliant scholar, a Brahmin named Ghoṭamukha, who walks up to a Buddhist monk and basically says, "Your whole path, it's a fraud. Nobody who's seeking the truth is actually doing it the right way." And that's the mystery we're going to unravel today.
So let's meet our two main players. On one side, you've got Ghoṭamukha. He's a respected intellectual, but he's also deeply skeptical. And on the other side, there's the monk, Udena, who, instead of getting all defensive, does something really extraordinary. He completely reframes the entire debate.
Now, to really get what Udena says next, this life-changing response, we can't just read the words on a page. We have to decode them. We have to try and feel their original gut-level meaning. And this is the moment the whole conversation pivots from a simple argument into a deep dive into what it means to be human.
What's so amazing here is Udena's strategy. He doesn't fire back with, "No, you're wrong." Instead, he just calmly takes a step back and says, "Okay, let's just map out all the ways a person can live in this world." He turns a head-to-head confrontation into a shared journey of discovery.
Udena suggests that every single one of us falls into one of four basic categories. It's a really simple, elegant system, and it's all based on how we deal with one single thing: suffering. Let's break it down.
So here they are. First, you've got the person who torments themselves, through really harsh, self-punishing practices. Second, the one who torments other people. Think of a butcher or a cruel tyrant. Third is the person who does both, like a king who performs a costly ritual that harms himself and the animals being sacrificed. And then finally, there's that fourth path, the person who doesn't torment anyone, themselves included.
And just like that, they find common ground. Ghoṭamukha immediately goes, "Yes, of course, the fourth path is obviously the best one." Seems pretty straightforward, right? Case closed? Not even close. The real world-changing insight is hidden inside the Pali words Udena uses, especially that one little word, torment.
All right, so here's our special tool for this explainer. To really understand what Udena was getting at, we're going to use a two-level translation. First, we'll look at the standard, modern definition, but then we're going to go deeper and look at the word's root, its original visual story.
So, this first translation is what you'd find in most books. It's the one I'd give you as a modern Pali translator. And it's technically correct, sure, but it can feel a little flat, a little academic. It's kind of removed from the raw experience the original speaker was trying to get across.
But this is where it gets really cool. The second translation uses an ancient Indian linguistic method called Niruti. This is like linguistic archaeology. It digs down to the word's foundation to uncover the core metaphor, the picture it was meant to paint. This is how people back then would have heard these words, not as ideas, but as images.
So let's try it on that key Pali word, tapa. The first translation is torment, okay? We get that. But the root meaning, the visual story, it's burning. Whoa, all of a sudden, it's not an abstract pain anymore. It's a fire, a consuming internal heat.
And this just brilliantly lights up Udena's whole point. See, he's not just talking about people who are unhappy. He is describing people who are actively on fire inside. They're either burning themselves with their practices, burning others with their cruelty, or burning everyone and everything in some big blaze. It is such a powerful, visceral image.
Okay, so this is the crucial question, right? If the problem is an inner fire, then the solution has to be about putting that fire out. So let's use our same two-level translation method to see how Udena describes that ideal person on the fourth path, the one who is totally free from all this burning.
This is the first word he uses. In a normal text, you'd probably just read it and move right on, but we're going to pause and take a much closer look. The standard translation is desireless. It's a philosophical concept, sounds a little abstract, but the Niruti root meaning is unthirsty. It literally breaks down to ni, which means without, and chato, which means thirst. I mean, think about that feeling of being desperately thirsty and then finally getting that cool drink of water. It's not an idea, it's a deep physical relief. That's the feeling he's describing.
Okay, next up is the second word Udena uses to paint this picture of peace. another term we see all the time, but maybe rarely stop to really feel.
So the first translation is at peace or extinguished, which connects perfectly to our fire metaphor. That's great. But the root meaning is even more tactile. It comes from ni, un, and vuta, woven. It means to be unbound or unwoven. Just imagine a super tight, stressful knot deep in your stomach, finally, completely releasing. That's peace. It's not just that the fire is gone, it's that the inner tension has dissolved.
And here we have the final piece of the puzzle, the third quality of this ideal person. This is what happens when you get the first two right.
The dictionary will tell you this means become cool, but the root sense is so much more profound, to be deeply cooled. Now, this isn't the coldness of being distant or indifferent. This is that refreshing, wonderful coolness you feel after a high fever finally breaks and washes over you. It's that calm, settled state after the inner fire of burning and the tension of being all woven up have both just stopped.
So, let's connect all these dots. Udana didn't just win an argument. He gave Ghoṭamukha a brand new set of eyes. He replaced these abstract philosophical concepts with visceral, real feelings. The pain of burning, the relief of a quenched thirst, the release of an untied knot, and the deep comfort of coolness. And this changed everything.
And there it is, the complete 180. Ghoṭamukha, the man who started this whole thing by saying the righteous path was impossible, now declares that it exists. He finally understood that the goal wasn't just some intellectual idea, but a tangible, achievable state of being, one that is unthirsty, unwoven, and deeply cooled.
And this wasn't just some shift in his thinking, it had real-world consequences. Ghoṭamukhasutta was so moved that he became a follower. He offers this huge daily donation, which Udana, because of his vows, can't accept personally, so instead, Ghoṭamukhasutta funds a public meeting hall for the entire community, a lasting legacy of his transformation that was even named after him.
This whole encounter is just this brilliant illustration that how we say something is every bit as important as what we say. The images and the feelings that are baked into our words have the power to literally transform minds. So the big takeaway is this: if shifting from torment to burning could change a man's life 2,500 years ago, what other essential visual meanings are we failing to see in the words that shape our own world today?